Hey, welcome back. Anna Saucier here. I'm here in this session where we're going to be diving into PCOS or Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome with Sylvia Kang. Sylvia, hi, it's great to see you again.
Hi, Anna. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. Thanks for being here.
No problem. Thanks for
So,
having me.
yeah, of course. Sylvia, would you please introduce yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I'm Sylvia. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Mira Fertility. So Mira is the new fertility tracker. So we track the actual fertility hormone concentration for you. So that means you will used to go to the hospital and to do the blood work, and then you can get your numeric hormone concentration, such as the luteinizing hormone, estrogen hormone, down to a number. But now you can do that at home with a palm-sized device. So we're really trying to, help women not only to get pregnant or avoid pregnancy, but most importantly, to make them know better about their cycle, know better about their body before that's too late. We think that's so important because we see many women, they face all kinds of struggles when they are thinking about their fertility goal. If they can know better or have better clarity about their cycle before things are getting too late, that will be a huge help. So basically that's what we do. And we track multiple hormones for women, and we help them answer questions, and we build a community to support their needs, basically just trying to bring more awareness and bridge the accuracy of testing with the comfortable or convenience at home.
That's great. And I know that so many women run up against not getting answers from their doctor. And so many women advocating for themselves, trying to learn what's going on. They're educating themselves, they're gathering information. And here again, another opportunity to gather information about their own body so that we have data and we have a place to start to advocate for ourselves with doctors. So I love that.
Thank you.
I know you have a particular interest and focus in polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I want to ask you, first, let's talk about that.
Mhm.
What is polycystic ovarian syndrome? I know there's some myth around that. Let's dive into what that is and the different types.
Sure. So PCOS is a very commonly occurred problem for women. So if you have that, you're not alone, because about 10% of global population of women who are in the age of conceiving or they could conceive, I think it's between 14 to 40 something, they all have PCOS. And the PCOS also is a very, it's a problem, really doesn't have enough awareness. A lot of women who have this, but they are not aware, they don't know they have such a problem until the day they're trying to conceive, and they found, oh, the cycle is really irregular, it's pretty hard to do. So basically, what is PCOS? It is a problem for hormone imbalances. So the problem itself is caused by the hormone imbalance. And you can think about our hormone as more like a cascade. So that means we have many hormones in our body, and each cycle our hormone goes to certain patterns. So it's like, they go up, they go down, but these changes will trigger some other hormones changes as well. So they together just work like a symphony. So it's like multiple musical instruments, they have to play together to have this beautiful curve and a beautiful pattern, and then your body will function normally, and you will ovulate, you will have your period, and you can do all the other things you want to do. So but with PCOS, a certain hormone level is not regular. So that means they're either too high or too low, or sometimes they're pretty random. So that will cause some other downstream problem. So other hormone level will not be good either. So then in your body, you will see problem like everyone's different. Like some people just rarely ovulate, and some people have acne growing on their face, or excessive facial hair, oily skin, or some even have a depression or anxiety. So all kinds of problems. So the most common thing for PCOS occurring is their androgen level is too high. So androgen is actually a male hormone, right? So in females, usually that's lower. But however, when androgen level is high, so that will trigger other female hormones to be at a level that's not really balanced. So that's not where they should be. So with that, and what will happen to your body is that, as a healthy woman, and you have multiple small follicles in your ovary every cycle. And these ovaries will gradually develop to be mature, and eventually only one, usually that's one, very rarely there are two, ovaries will become mature. So the egg will release, and the egg is released, and that's called ovulation. And then the egg is there, so the sperm can go there to fertilize the egg, and then that's where the pregnancy will start. However, with PCOS, you tend to have many, many very small follicles, and they all try to become mature. And at the end result, it's like no one become mature enough. So that's usually, result in no ovulation, or, pretty random ovulation. Sometimes you are lucky and you got one egg released, and in that cycle, you do have ovulation. But for the other cycles, you probably just don't. So that's the most common problem for PCOS. And then PCOS usually is diagnosed with multiple criteria together. So it's never like, oh, I go to a hospital and I do an ultrasound, I see some ovaries in my, the follicles in my ovary, and then I'm PCOS. It's not. So usually you have to have a high androgen level, and usually you don't have much ovulation, or ovulation is really irregular. And at the same time, you can see there's multiple very small follicles and they're immature in your ovary. So those three criteria, usually have to meet two in order to be considered as PCOS. And then we talk about, what kinds of PCOS are these. So I think for, our users, and for especially Mira users, and maybe we want to know, what the causes for them. So the most common kind is called the insulin resistant PCOS. So that is caused by high insulin level. And where does a high insulin level comes from? So that can come from a genetic issue, and that can come from your diet, your exercise pattern, obesity, just all the lifestyle that could affect that too. So if you don't think you have the insulin resistant PCOS, maybe you want to ask your doctor, because 70% of PCOS are insulin resistant. So insulin is also a mechanism in your body to regulate a lot of things downstream. So when you have high insulin level, and that will, as we talked earlier, that will disrupt the symphony. So that will trigger some other hormones to be not good either. So that's the biggest root cause, or the type of PCOS. And then there are a few other types of PCOS, and they're not that common, and usually they're easier to treat. So one is called a post-pill PCOS. So that's usually a temporary thing. So if you just came off from a birth control pill, and then a certain pill could, your body could take a little bit time to produce your own estrogen and progesterone. Again, those are two kinds of female hormones as well. And then your body basically is taking time to adjust. So during that process, there could be some PCOS symptoms coming out, but usually that will go away. And if you seek for some doctor's help, it's not that hard to do. And then there are two other types. So total there are four. So there are two other types of PCOS. Another one is called the immune related or immune trigger whatsoever PCOS. So that's associated with your body's inflammation. So some people have autoimmune problem, and some people are very too much responsive to certain foods, or things like that. So there is chronic inflammation in your body. Maybe you don't know. So that can trigger PCOS as well. And the last kind is called the environmental PCOS. So that is usually associated with one or two things in the environment. It could be a food you're eating. Some people find, oh, I stopped taking diary, and then my PCOS got recovered because her body is not really responding well to diary for some reason. So that's another kind. But overall, you can think of PCOS is not like a single symptom or something. Even the diagnosing PCOS takes multiple criteria. So but basically, it's all about hormone. So it's a hormone imbalance, and that causes you not ovulating regularly or not ovulating at all. So you want to deal with that because your body wants to come back to the regular schedule, so you can not only get pregnant, but also you don't want to some potential downstream problems such as endometriosis, or eventually if that's taking too long, that may affect your egg quality. Things like this happening.
Fascinating. It's almost like infertility itself, in that it seems like PCOS is the effect of other things going on. It's really just an effect, and we can't treat, okay, you have PCOS, let's give the PCOS pill, but what of these other things are going on in the body, and let's
Exactly.
address those, right?
Exactly.
So what does this mean for women, for couples who are trying to conceive?
Yeah.
Where do they
Yeah.
start?
Sure. So it's definitely a tough thing. But the good news is like, it doesn't mean it's not treatable. So we have so many, not only Mira users, but also women with PCOS, they do get pregnant naturally. So usually there are two kinds of things you could do. So the first thing is the natural way. So this one we usually recommend to our users that regardless you have a treatment from a doctor or not, you should always consider the natural way, because hormone is affected by your daily life, by your lifestyle, by what you're eating, by how much stress you have, all these kind of things. So that's a very good thing to do, because naturally if you can bring it back, and then it's much better than with some hormone treatment or so on. But at
Sure,
the
and
same
it affects your health of everything else.
Exactly. Your body is like a whole thing. So
Mhm.
nothing really works just independently by itself. And another thing people usually do is like they seek for some help from the doctor. So usually depends on your problem. The doctor may prescribe some medicine and some with some hormones, and to bring your own hormone into balance, and some are for other things like a stimulate your ovulation or so on. So that's another whole spectrum. But with PCOS, to get pregnant is very stressful, because the biggest problem is that you don't know when you ovulate. As healthy women, and you kind of know, although we are not like we all ovulating on day 14, but you kind of know in the middle of cycle there should be something happening. But for PCOS, it's like hidden and miss. Maybe this cycle just didn't have anything, that cycle has something. So this
Or a
will
cycle might have multiple things that look like ovulation, right?
Exactly, and multiple hormone surge. So,
Right.
as the healthy woman, usually have one LH surge. So LH level goes really high and then coming down. So that's where the ovulation will happen. But with PCOS, you can have multiple smaller peaks, and you don't know which one is. So based on that, I think there are two things at least you could do. Number one is really find a way to track your cycle, because our body has their own way to function. If you have more awareness to your body, you pay more attention to it, eventually you will find certain way. You will find the rule. You will find how that works. It's not like completely no clarity black box. It's not like that. So there's the multiple ways to track your cycle, but for PCOS, you really want to track your hormone in a really precise way. So OPK may not work for you, because OPK has a certain threshold of the hormone. So if you're below the threshold, they say, okay, it's negative, and above that, you're positive. But as we talked, for women with PCOS, some of them have elevated LH level. So that's being affected by the high androgen level. So then you might get false positive all the time or so on. So you definitely want a certain much more accurate way. So you can either go to the doctor's lab to do the blood drawing, or you can use the devices like a Mira. That's actually kind of reason why invented something like this. So you will have much more precision. You can look into exactly how high your hormone is, not like it's high or low. It's not like a what, it's like a how. So you can look into that level of precision, so you will start to know much better about what's happening in your body. And then you might be able to find the ovulation when the ovulation happens. So that's very critical to any woman who are trying to get pregnant. And another thing is, there are many things you could do for yourself, such as the lose weight. If you have obesity, about 70% by stats, 70% women who have PCOS, they are kind of overweight or on that end. So losing weight will definitely bring the hormone back, and sometimes we'll just auto start the ovulation again. And also exercise more and pay attention to your diet. Avoid all the high fat and high sugar processed food, all this kind of thing. So that's actually very, very important, and also reduce stress. We completely understand that trying to get pregnant with PCOS is pretty stressful already, but we also know that the stress will trigger hormone change as well. So that will trigger your, other hormone change in your body, and that will definitely affect your PCOS condition. So basically, we think the way to really should go is have some nice tool or backed by science, so you have better clarity into your body, so you know better about your body, because you have the data, so you should worry less, and you should live in more regular self-disciplined life to adjust to the more healthier lifestyle pattern. And you should know that, because the most women with PCOS eventually got pregnant naturally, so there's strong hope over there. It's definitely doable.
I love that you've leaned on tracking the cycle and gathering that information, because I think that that in itself sometimes can help reduce stress, because now suddenly it's not just my cycles are a big mess and nobody knows how to help me, but instead you're advocating for yourself by getting that data and information down, starting to see what's going on, and then creating a path forward.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. So, Sylvia, what would be your number one piece of advice for couples who have just received this diagnosis? I'm going to put in quotes, diagnosis of unexplained infertility, which is really just a way of saying we don't know what's wrong.
Sure, sure. So I think we should have we should have confidence, and we should start to do something and put the things onto a schedule, so you will worry less. So the enemy for us is the stress, the worrying, because we know that can make things worse. But at the same time, if you understand the science, understand your body, how that works, your cycle pattern, and then track your cycle, but at the same time really put your life to be on a very rigorous way to either try to lose weight or change your diet pattern or try to exercise more. So when you're doing this, you should worry less, because you already know you're doing something towards a good thing. And based on science, based on stats, people are being helped by this kind of activity. So I know it's pretty hard, I know it's a stressful journey, but basically, be rational and then understand the problem behind that, and they do something and then worry less. I think that will definitely significantly help your body to be back to either hormone, the good hormone level before, or even help you to try to get pregnant really soon.
That's great advice. Thank you so much, Sylvia. And where can people find you at Mira? Where's the best place to go?
Sure. So you guys can find us at our website, so which is miracare.com. So we really look forward to help more women to achieve their fertility goal, regardless they're having a regular cycle or have PCOS or hormone imbalances. Arm yourself with the best data, the best clarity about your body as the first step to go.
Thank you so much. And thank you for all the work that you're doing to empower women and couples in this journey.
No problem. Thank you so much, Anna.